everyone. Hope you're all still enjoying the stories. Thank you so much for coming back to listen to another one. I've got to say hi to a few people. Darcy Lee and Letia, Kira and Freya, Isabel, Amelia, Ethan, Oscar. Hiya guys, I'm pleased you're enjoying it. And last night I had a really huge surprise because Jaden actually sent me a message where he read to me. And that was beautiful, and I have to be honest, as a teacher, it's something I'm really missing. We're so used to hearing children read to us every day, and that's a real honour. And it was lovely to hear you, so thank you for that. Right, today's story, Miss Palaver's Theatrical Theatrics. There you go. Miss Palaver could turn anything into a drama. The smallest thing would make her launch into the most over-the-top performance it could be. A plastic bag caught up a tree. Oh, woe, poor bag of plastic, come down from atop your lonely branch, she would wail. A teacher sneezing in assembly. A tissue! Get thee to the nearest apothecary at once. Ye may only have moments to live. Miss Palaver liked using language from the time of William Shakespeare, the famous playwright, who died over 400 years ago. A piece of chewing gum stuck to her shoe. Oh, woe, oh, twice woe, I am stuck as to the spot. I will be entombed here for all eternity. A wasp trapped in a classroom. Out, out, oh stinky foe, thou art not welcome in my classroom ever. Do not it forceth me to fetcheth the spray canister of certain waspish doom. A bird plop landing on the headmistress's car. O bird of foulness, why hast thou smited the headmistress's vehicle so with your ploppy poop? A girl with a shoelace undone. Stoppeth at onceth, and doeth your shoelaceth uppeth. Please, please, please do not thanketh me, even though I have saved your life. A book being overdue at the library. A book, a pretty book, flieth back to the library on the wings of a dove. We need thee safely returned. A shortage of baked beans in the school cafeteria. I weep for me. I weep for the children. I weep for baked bean lovers of the world. We must have beans, beans and more beans, or we may as well rolleth into a ditch and die. In case you hadn't already guessed, this particular world's worst teacher taught drama. Miss Palaver's appearance was, in a word, theatrical. The teacher dressed as if she'd travelled in time from hundreds of years ago. She wore a long scarlet velvet cape which billowed on windy days. On the cape was pinned an antique gold brooch with the symbol of drama, the twin masks of comedy and tragedy. Underneath the cape, Miss Palaver wore antique blouses with ruffled collars and cuffs, and tweed skirts that went all the way down to her ankles. Her shoes were heeled lace-up boots which were last popular in Victorian times. She wore her half-moon spectacles on a chain around her neck. No one had ever witnessed her bring them up to her eyes, so they might just have been part of her costume. Miss Palaver taught at Lady Ostentatious's school for posh girls, a posher school you could not find. The school was set in a grand stately home hundreds of years old. There were marble statues on the lawn, chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, and gold-framed oil paintings adorning the walls. All the pieces of furniture, even the girls' desks and chairs, were priceless antiques. Miss Palaver thought of the school as the most perfect place for her. She loved the grandness, the history and the snobbery of it. The school was like a reflection of her. She had taught there for decades. Try as they might, they couldn't get rid of her. Over the years, Palaver directed some memorable school productions there. First was her infamous Miss Palaver's Complete History of the World. It was a performance that lasted 17 hours with no interval. The proud parents in the audience slept in shifts, waking each other up when one of their daughters had a line in the play. If anyone tried to pop out to use the toilet, Miss Palaver blocked their path with a staff. Ye shall not pass, or ye shall miss a good bit. Musicals were Miss Palaver's greatest love. She wrote one about her goldfish, who she called William Shakespeare. The drama teacher cast the head girl as the fish, who was given a snorkel and flippers. A giant glass bowl was built, filled with water, and she was dropped into it. Splosh. Sadly, none of the songs from Goldfish the Musical could actually be heard, as they were all sung underwater. Blub, blub, blub. Who could forget the self-penned play of her own life? Miss Palaver, the tears and laughter of a legend. All those who had the misfortune of seeing this one-woman show tried to forget it, but sadly it was seared into their memories forever. Miss Palaver played herself, of course, from birth to the present day. She was, according to the script, the most beloved teacher who ever walked the earth. A wordless one-woman ballet, Amoeba, in which Miss Palaver dressed up as the smallest creature on earth and pranced around the stage for 4 hours, was considered to be her absolute worst. The school magazine, The Ostentation, gave it the poorest review in the history of theatre. It read simply, pooh. In Biscuit's assortment, the opera, a dozen different biscuits came alive, stepped out of the tin and began singing in Italian. The opera was the show Palaver considered to be her absolute masterpiece. Pink wafer, chocolate finger, ginger nut bourbon, jammy dodger and custard cream were all at war as to who was the ruler of the magic kingdom of Biscuit Tin Land. It was even worse than it sounds, and I know it sounds horrific. The most terrible thing that could ever happen to you, if you were a pupil at Lady Ostentatious's School for Posh Girls, was to be cast in one of Palaver's productions. As it was a boarding school, it was impossible to escape being in one. Each term, Miss Palaver posted a list of who was playing who on the notice board. The girls all called it the List of Doom. There was no saying no. Any girl who did was expelled on the spot and forced to go to a less posh school, thereby bringing shame upon her family forever. Rehearsals for a Palaver production would go on for months, sometimes even years, even through the night. Worst of all, Miss Palaver would scream at you if you forgot a line or moved to the wrong spot on the stage. "Nurse, you are ruining of it. No, do it again and again and again and again until you get it right." The poor girls would burst into tears. Not that the teacher cared. All she cared about was her precious play, and she demanded nothing short of perfection. One morning, Miss Palaver was called to the headmistress's office. This was not an everyday occurrence, so the drama teacher's mind immediately began whirling as to why she'd been summoned. Were her plans for drama-themed food in the dining hall finally going to come to fruition? Shakespeare's spam fritters, Chekhov's Cornish pasties, Ibsen's ice pops, Beckett's Brussels sprouts. Was she about to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award for services to drama? Was the school going to be demolished so her plans for a brand new 1,000-seater theatre could be built, called, of course, the Palaver Memorial Theatre? Was the headmistress stepping down and Miss Palaver taking over, allowing her to turn Lady Ostentatious's into a drama school with lessons only in drama, and more drama? Or best of all, was she going to be made a dame by Her Majesty the Queen? Dame Paloma Palaver had a lovely ring to it. The answer to all these questions was a big fat no. Miss Palaver didn't know that yet. The school secretary led her into the headmistress's oak-panelled office, as you might expect a school so drenched in history. The room was full of leather-bound books and oil paintings of the previous headmistresses. "You senteth for me, O great one," announced Palaver as she wafted into the room, her cape trailing behind her. "It is I, the greatest drama teacher the world has ever known, Miss Palaver." "Yes, one knows who you are," snapped the frightfully posh headmistress. She was stern at the best of times. The lady didn't have time for the silly teacher and her even sillier productions. "Sit down," she ordered. Miss Palaver lowered herself onto the chair slowly and theatrically. It took a few minutes for her bottom to actually reach the seat. Finally, the headmistress could begin. "One has brought you here today as one needs to talk about what you have proposed for this year's school play." "The complete works of William Shakespeare, unabridged," asked Miss Palaver. "Yes," replied the headmistress wearily. "That iseth William Shakespeare the playwrighteth, not William Shakespeare my pet goldfisheth." "One gathered that. One assumes your pet goldfish hasn't written any plays. One or two, but they are not as great. They tend to go round and round in circles, like him. The headmistress rolled her eyes. Miss Palaver really was bananas. Miss Palaver, one is saying no. That was a word Miss Palaver never heard. She was such a force of nature that no one ever said no to her. After the shock had set in, she began her performance. Tears welled in her eyes and her voice began to wobble with emotion. But this isn't my masterpiece. This will make me go down in history as the greatest drama teacher who ever lived. It has never been done before to stage all 37 of Shakespeare's plays and presenteth them in one evening of wonderment. But it won't just be one evening, will it, Miss Palaver? The teacher thought for a moment. Maths was not her strong suit, but each play ran to 3 or 4 hours, so she began attempting to work it out. Knoweth. So how long would it take to stage all 37 of Shakespeare's often posterior, numbingly long plays? Knoweth longer than a week. A week? Even the headmistress was flabbergasted. It could be longer, if thou so wisheth. I could includeth Shakespeare's sonnets. No! Bellowed the headmistress. She was losing her patience now. Knoweth to the sonnets, but yeseth to the 37 plays? Asked Miss Palaver hopefully. No! Knoweth? Yeseth! It's a knoweth. One means yes, it is a no. And Miss Palaver henceforth, one has agreed that there will be no more school plays ever. The teacher was, for once, stunned into silence. They bring only misery to those who are in them, and even greater misery to those who have to sit through them. One has consulted with the school council, and all the girls here want your theatre room converted for badminton practice. Badminton practices? Miss Palaver couldn't believe her ears. This was an insult of epic proportions. Headmistresseth, do I hear thee correctly? Art thou saying knoweth to the very first staging of all 37 of Shakespeare's plays, so the girls can hit at the... She could barely bring herself to say it. Shuttlecock? Yes, I am, replied the headmistress. Now, Miss Palaver, one has an extremely posh school to run. Good day. And with that she stood and showed the teacher the door. Miss Palaver remained sitting and stared straight ahead. Miss Palaver, Miss Palaver! The headmistress waved her hand in front of the lady's eyes, but there was no response. Woe, woe, and thrice woe, whispered the teacher to herself. It sounded like the first crackle of thunder you hear when a storm is brewing. Miss Palaver, please don't make a drama out of this. Whoa! She wailed in reply. The sound was so piercing that the glass in the windows exploded. The oil paintings fell off the walls, and the leather-bound books flew off the shelves. Stop that wailing at once, Miss Palaver, ordered the headmistress. Out, out, out! She began shooing the teacher from her office. Shoo, shoo, shoo! Miss Palaver staggered across the hallway, her cape fluttering behind her. She came to rest between 2 giant columns. Whoa! She wailed even louder than before. It was so loud that the old school building began to crumble. A chandelier crashed down from the ceiling. Whoosh! Smash! Plaster exploded from the walls. Kaboom! Doors flew off their hinges. Thud, thud, thud. Girls and teachers began streaming out of their classroom. Ah! No! Help! Everyone escaped to the safety of the lawn, leaving Miss Palaver wailing alone in the school building. Whoa! This time, she pushed with all her strength against the 2 giant columns. Huge cracks began shooting across them. Crack, crunch, cruck. As the columns crumbled, so did the old stately home itself. The ceiling caved in, the walls caved in, Everything that could have caved in, caved in. Boom, bash, smash. Soon, the historic Lady Ostentatious's School for Posh Girls was nothing but a pile of rubble. A cloud of dust covered everyone and everything. Cough, splutter, gasp. As the dust slowly cleared, all the staff and pupils began to make out a lone figure amongst the rubble. The figure looked like a statue, standing motionless, covered from head to toe in grey dust and debris. "Miss Palaver!" called out the headmistress. On hearing her name, the statue came to life. She asked hopefully, "How about I just direct 36 of Shakespeare's plays?" There you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed tonight. Please keep sending your messages in. Your teachers are absolutely loving it. And Jaden, keep reading.